The Christians were, for about 2 centuries, criminals in the eyes of the Roman state. That's why the Christians were oppressed by the Romans. And they were oppressed by the Romans because they affirmed their faith in the monarchy of God. God is the king. God is the only king we recognize. Therefore, in the eyes of the state, these were people who wouldn't salute the flag. They wouldn't pay allegiance to the emperor. They were subversive communist revolutionaries, or whatever you want to call them. And by the way, they were communists in the sense that they lived in communes and shared everything and were led by people who became their leaders and ultimately the bishops. So there was a period of Christian oppression going on in the Roman Empire. There was also the conflict between the pagans and the Christians, which was going on quite a bit. Now, the Christian communities grew. The Christians grew in number, and they grew in very large numbers. And because there were so many Christians, and many of them were considered criminals and had to be executed and persecuted, although some Romans felt that they were not. I mean, there's a very interesting letter written by Pliny the Younger. Pliny the Elder was a great historian, and he wrote a history in several volumes, Historia Naturalis, natural history, in which he gives a description of the world and the empire. And there he also has a chapter devoted to the Essenes, that Jewish group that lived away from the cities and formed a holy community. He has a very interesting description. And by the way, he was so interested in science that when Vesuvius erupted in the year 79, he got on a boat and he went right in towards Pompeii, and the mountain blew and burned him. So at least Pliny the Elder was devoted to his cause to the end. Pliny the Younger, his son, was a governor, and he was sent to govern over a community, and then he got the usual instructions. Remember, the Christians are nasty, subversive, communist revolutionaries. You got to get rid of them. And he writes a letter to the emperor. He says, I don't know what you want from these. They're nice people. They're peaceful. They love each other. They are cooperative. They're nice. They're not a threat to the empire. Why do you tell me I should persecute them? I really don't feel like it. They are no threat as far as I can understand. So you have this interesting contrast between the official position and the views of other Romans. Now, we go up to the year 300. By the year 300, the Christian communities were large and many. Also, if we trace Roman history from the time of, let's say, the Emperor Antoninus Pius and the Emperor Caracalla, it was Caracalla who said everybody in the Roman Empire is now a citizen. So he extended citizenship to everybody. But when we read the history of the Roman Empire, we see that between the year about 220 and 320, or 100 years, within that period of a century, there were over 60 Roman emperors. Well, what does that mean? What does it reveal to you? What do you mean? A man became an emperor, and 2 months later, another guy comes along and kills him, and he takes over, and this is going on. And the empire is so badly mismanaged that the Senate, which is the official government, the Senate of Rome is the official government, the Senate declares, well, look, let's take these generals and separate them so they won't want to kill each other. So in effect, they said, well, from now on, we'll have 2 Caesars, 2 emperors. One will be east, one will be west, and tell them, now this is your territory, this is your territory, and let's keep the peace. Well, that's what they said, but the war was going on. So you have a constant area of conflict, and there doesn't seem to be any way of maintaining control of the empire until the Emperor Constantine is elected around the year 300. Constantine was a little more understanding, and he said, look, we can't control this empire because too many of the people in the empire are members of this religion. They call themselves Christians. And we condemn them, and we make them illegal, and that doesn't help. There are too many of them. Why don't we legalize these people and try to make some arrangements to pacify the empire? Well, when he was elected emperor, he was elected co-emperor with another fellow. So he said, let's get together, and the first thing we have to do is say, Christians from now on are members of a legal religion. So in the Edict of Milan in 312, the Emperor Constantine and his colleague declared, from now on, Christianity is recognized as a legal religion, together with pagan religion, Mithraism, Judaism, and the others. So in 312, Christianity was legalized. But the Christian bishops, that is, the leaders of the Christian communities, felt, now we want more. And so they approached the Emperor Constantine and said, look, you made Christianity legal, which was, of course, the only thing you could have done, because that is the way it should be. But now we feel that paganism has to be removed from its official position as the official religion of the empire, and you have to make Christianity the official religion of the empire. Well, he looked at this group of, we don't know how many, whether there were 40 or 50 or 60 of them, and he said, what is Christianity? So they started to give him an answer. And he said, wait a minute, too many of you are talking. What's Christianity? He asked one, he gave him a definition of Christianity. He asked another one, he says, that's not right. He's wrong. He doesn't know what it means. And so he said, look, tell you what, we'll call a council of all of you bishops, and you will get together, and you will decide on what Christianity is, and then you will present me with the definition, written out clearly, and then I will declare Christianity to be the official religion of the empire. So you guys get together. And he called the Council of Nicaea in the year 325. The Council of Nicaea, 325, considered the first ecumenical council of the church, although some say that the debate and argument between St. Paul and St. Jacob in Jerusalem was the first Christian council, but that didn't create the church as a universal. But in any event, the first ecumenical council of the church was held in Nicaea in the year 325.